There is a wealth of musical resources beyond Malaysia. Music festivals, masterclasses, conferences, and so much more. But we believe that music education can be for everyone, no matter where we are, especially for the students in Malaysia. And that is how we started the Rondo production. Since 2019, we have collaborated with over 62 artists from 15 countries, bringing exclusive digital content and quality music events, reaching over 20,000 worldwide audiences. As a social enterprise, we offer additional services to make our music programs accessible and affordable for all, from in-house productions to collaborations with organizations and individuals. We reinvest our profits into our music programs to inspire students and help musicians succeed in their artistic journeys.
You've got a dream. You must dream in life. You must believe that you want to do something, it's going to work for you. It's not just the raw talent, it's a whole lot more.
They love making music and they want to come to Griffith because they can see that they can enhance their skills and abilities here.
It's an empowering environment to be involved in. I really felt like I was part of something bigger, and that was really the foundation of the university.
We do classical music, opera, musical theatre, jazz, popular music, music technology, composition and voice. And we're always looking for what the next thing might be.
It's very vibrant and very forward-thinking.
While there is a high standard expected from you, there is also a high amount of care that's given to you.
Application, study, dedication. They've certainly been given a good, thorough, solid grounding here at the university.
What you're doing here is incredibly important. You've got all those skills and society will be enriched by what you can bring having done here.
There is a wealth of musical resources beyond Malaysia. Music festivals, masterclasses, conferences, and so much more. But we believe that music education can be for everyone, no matter where we are, especially for the students in Malaysia. And that is how we started the Rondo production. Since 2019, we have collaborated with over 62 artists from 15 countries, bringing exclusive digital content and quality music events, reaching over 20,000 worldwide audiences. As a social enterprise, we offer additional services to make our music programs accessible and affordable for all, from in-house productions to collaborations with organizations and individuals. We reinvest our profits into our music programs to inspire students and help musicians succeed in their artistic journeys.
You've got a dream. You must dream in life. You must believe that you want to do something, it's going to work for you. It's not just the raw talent, it's a whole lot more.
They love making music and they want to come to Griffith because they can see that they can enhance their skills and abilities here.
It's an empowering environment to be involved in. I really felt like I was part of something bigger, and that was really the foundation of the university.
We do classical music, opera, musical theatre, jazz, popular music, music technology, composition and voice. And we're always looking for what the next thing might be.
It's very vibrant and very forward-thinking.
While there is a high standard expected from you, there is also a high amount of care that's given to you.
Application, study, dedication. They've certainly been given a good, thorough, solid grounding here at the university.
What you're doing here is incredibly important. You've got all those skills, and society will be enriched by what you can bring having done here.
Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to Asia's first virtual music education fair, MuseEd Weekend. I'm Kenny, the director of the Rondo production. We hope you are doing well wherever you are. Before we begin, we would like to express our gratitude to our main sponsor, the Associated Board of Royal Schools of Music, ABRSM. And of course, today's our first participating institution, Queensland Conservatorium, Griffith University, which is one of Australia's major music and performing arts institutions. And today we have Prof. Donna Watson, who will be guiding us through their course content, admission requirements, as well as student life. Just to establish some house rules before we begin, please keep your microphones muted while you're not speaking, and turn off your video if it helps with your internet connections. Use the chat room for questions, replies, and make sure that you are sending to everyone. Finally, respect the presenter by listening attentively and raise your hands if you need any further assistance. The session is being recorded, and the recordings will be shared with all the attendees afterwards. If you do not wish to be captured or recorded, please keep your video off. Next, post a story with our IG filter, and remember to tag us at the Rondo production, and also hashtag MuseEd Weekend 2021, as points will be added. What points are that? I will explain how it works on the next slide. You can scan the QR code on the screen to get a filter, or grab the link in the chat box. Maybe you can just give everyone like 3 seconds to grab the IG filter. Counting 3, 2, 1. All right. So now each participant will earn points through attending every live session, posting it on your social media, and tag us. So for example, attending 3 sessions and posting 4 stories, remember to tag us, will gain you around like 7 points. So for every action you do, you get 1 point for this event. Do attend as many sessions if you want, and points will be added up, and we'll give a free merchandise to up to top 3 attendees with the highest point earned. Okay, so now, without further ado, I will now pass the session to Prof. Donna Watson. Take it away.
Hello, everybody. I'll just share my screen with you. Are we good, Kenny?
Yes.
Okay, there we are. Okay, so everybody, hello. My name is Donna Weston, as Kenny has said, and I'm coming to you from Brisbane in Queensland in Australia, also home of the Jagera and Turrbal traditional owners. So the Queensland, I'm the Deputy Director Learning and Teaching. I'm the Head of Popular Music, and I'm also the International Convener for the Conservatorium. So all international students who come through the Conservatorium, I'm their main point of contact as well. So the Queensland Conservatorium is among the top 50 performing arts institutions in the world, according to the latest QS World University Rankings by subject. So I thought, first of all, I would give you a little bit of background about where the Conservatorium sits in within the university. So Griffith University is one of the big 3 universities in Queensland. We have around 50,000 students. Griffith University has 5 physical campuses spread across about a 100-kilometre corridor from the Gold Coast right through to Brisbane. And as you can hopefully see on this map here, which is a very basic representation of that, each of those campuses has its own sort of focus. So in our Logan campus, the focus is on community health education, on the Gold Coast, medicine, dentistry, nursing. It's like a health and knowledge precinct. At our Nathan campus, we have law, science, environmental studies, IT, business and government. Mount Gravatt campus, criminology, criminal justice education and psychology. And of course, the campus that I work from is our South Bank campus, which is our creative and performing arts campus. So the Queensland Conservatorium is situated on the South Bank campus, which is right in the middle of Brisbane. It's actually redesigned from a big expo that we had back in 1988, and it now consists of restaurants and parklands, an inner city beach, as you can see in the photo there on the PowerPoint. We've got like small sections of rainforest, so it's a very beautiful campus. In terms of student life, of course, it means being so close to the city that there's lots to do. There's all the city life as well. Then there's also all the activities on South Bank. There's a lot of student accommodation. Students can also take part in student accommodation at the University of Queensland, which is about 10 minutes away from us. So it's a very vibrant culture to be a student in, and very exciting. The South Bank Parklands are the heart of Brisbane's, they're our premier arts precinct. We have the Queensland Performing Arts Complex. The major radio national broadcaster, the ABC, is also in the building next to us. So it really is a cultural hub, which is a great place, of course, to have our campus. So I'm just going to play you this short video here, which gives you a little idea of what types of things occur on our South Bank campus. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how beautiful the campus is. And I think the most exciting thing about our campus is the opportunities for collaborations across the creative arts. So as you can imagine, having 3 separate art schools on the same campus within a few minutes walk of each other provides wonderful opportunities for cross-disciplinary collaborations. Later on, I'll be showing you a video of just one of these. But the most obvious opportunities, I think, are for our composers who write scores for the students of the Griffith Film School. And we've had collaborations between many film students there as well. Our students also collaborate with the Queensland College of Art, for example, on multimedia installations and any kind of digital photography that we might need for any purposes. We have, for our popular music students, we have an artist management agency and an album release every year, and Queensland College of Art students have provided bio photographs and artwork for their CD covers. So lots of collaborations across all of the arts occur on that campus. Just moving on. Sorry. Okay, so learn among the best. Our music lecturers are all renowned performers and artists and producers in their own rights. And many students apply to the Conservatorium with a particular teacher in mind based on their reputation. So our music teachers all have international reputations and are sought after for their expertise in the field. And that is across the range from jazz to popular music to music technology to classical music. We have very state-of-the-art facilities, as you would have seen in the opening video. We have our theatre. We have a theatre, which I'll talk about later on anyway. But I think the most important thing is that we have a lot of performance opportunities. For example, we have small chamber ensembles, symphony orchestras, big bands, full stage productions, and all of our students have opportunities to perform in those across the 3 years of their study. We also have a lot of industry connections. And as I mentioned before, on our campus, we have the national broadcast, the Australian Broadcasting Commission right next door, which is also home to the Queensland Symphony Orchestra. We have many music festivals that we have strong partnerships with, the Brisbane Festival, which has just finished here actually, the Queensland Music Festival. As I said, we have strong partnerships with the Queensland Performing Arts Centre, and in fact, our performing arts musical theatre students are performing their production of Grease at the Queensland Performing Arts Centre next week, which is very exciting, so big audience for them. We have connections with Opera Australia and Opera Queensland as well, and also our national and international guests and masterclasses all complement students' core learning. Those networks provide very high profile internship possibilities, performance opportunities, and even opportunities after graduation for our students, especially professional opportunities as they develop those networks and get to know the people within those organisations. But we are also very community focused, and our students regularly perform in small ensembles in hospitals and aged care facilities as part of their learning experience. And we have a very strong commitment to music being available for everyone. We are also a member of an organisation called Connext, and that's a network that comprises of the Geneva University of Music, the Norwegian Academy in Oslo, the Orpheus Institute in Ghent, the Royal Conservatoire in The Hague, the Schulich School of Music in Montreal, the Sibelius Academy in Helsinki, the Thornton School of Music in Southern California, and the Yunzito Conservatory of Music in Singapore. And so with those connections, there's a lot of international connections for students, but also all of those institutions get together to ensure that we are all delivering the very best in music education in a conservatorium context. We also currently have exchange agreements with Christiana College in Norway for our popular music and music technology students. We have agreements with the UCSI in Malaysia for subjects in the music program and for the Diploma of Music at the Malaysian Institute of Art. And we also have student exchange agreements with the National University of Singapore. So as I mentioned, we have very beautiful facilities. We have a 600-seat conservatorium theatre, which is actually renowned nationally for its superb acoustics. Not only is that conservatorium theatre used for our concert calendar with many productions across the year, but students use this theatre for their recitals, especially their end of year examinations, and also for their own presentations throughout the year. We also have a 150-seat Ian Hanger Recital Hall and the Basil Jones Orchestral Hall. And as I said, like over 250 public performances every year. We have state-of-the-art music technology studios and one of the most comprehensive music libraries in Australia. So those concert productions that I mentioned, these next slides show you just a few from this year, actually. We've just finished our main season. We have the Philharmonic, which I'm going to show you a short excerpt from later on because it's a very good example of how we collaborate across the campus with other areas. We had the Beethoven, the Symphony, the Eroica, earlier on in the year. And of course, these are all our students playing in these orchestral productions. We have musical theatre opera productions, musical theatre, acting. And just last week, we had the Mahler Symphony number 5 with our student orchestra that you can see in the photo. And you couldn't contrast that more with the musical theatre production Greece, which we had just 2 weeks before that, and which, as I said, will actually be being released again at the Performing Arts Complex next week. So very diverse performance calendar across the whole range of musical theatre, acting, popular music, jazz, classical and more, which is very representative of our student cohort. So just as an example of those kinds of cross-disciplinary collaborations that I spoke about, our recent production presented us with a wonderful example of these possibilities. So we had the Queensland Conservatorium Symphony Orchestra, who performed alongside short films and animations in a very unique collaboration with the Griffith Film School. And this program featured original collaborations between student composers, graduate composers and filmmakers, and also established and iconic film music performed by the orchestra as a live soundtrack, which presented its own challenges. And these were conducted by Associate Professor Peter Morris, whose back you can see in this photo. He is our ensemble director, head of conducting, and also the deputy director engagement. The audience at this occasion also witnessed the world premiere of a short film, Liquefazione, by Herman van Eycken, who is the director of the film school. And of course, the live soundtrack was provided by our orchestra. So I'm just going to play you here a very short excerpt from that particular film to give you an idea of the scope. Oops. Okay, so hopefully that's given you an overview of the sort of the cultural context of what we represent at the Conservatorium, the campus, the facilities, the type of lifestyle that students might expect to have there. So we might move on to the types of things that students can study. So we offer a Bachelor of Music, a Bachelor of Acting, and a Bachelor of Musical Theatre. We also have a Master of Music Research and a Master of Music Studies with majors in composition, conducting, pedagogy and performance. We also have graduate certificates that lead into that Master of Music Studies. In all of our undergraduate degrees, students focus on their key instruments. So a Bachelor of Music student coming in, whether it be as a popular music student or a classical student, will focus on their instrument and the performance on that. But we also prepare students throughout their degree to focus on developing their identity as a musician, to understanding and managing the business of music, and navigating a musical career and all of the things that that might entail. And we very much promote entrepreneurialism and managing a portfolio career as a musician. But as a conservatorium, we are focused primarily on performance. And as I said, with many opportunities from small to large ensembles across the full range of genres, as well as opportunities for solo performances. We aim to have our students experience all that music has to offer. So that means, as well as specialising in their own instrument, they will have the opportunity, if they want to play across multiple genres and styles of instruments. And this is a great learning experience because it adds to a student's employability prospects if they are able to have experience in those multiple styles. That's not for every student. Some students will choose to focus on their instrument and their particular style, but nonetheless, we try to keep things very fluid so students can experience the full spectrum. We're also very focused on caring for our students. We have many staff accredited in mental health support and a dedicated staff advisor for each year level and a dedicated person to look after our international students, which at the moment is me. So at the moment, this is an exciting year for us actually, because we have a new director who some of you may know, Professor Bernard Langsky, who comes from us from Ung Si To in Singapore. He has a very exciting new vision for the Bachelor of Music, which will provide our students with many opportunities for artistic and creative growth, which I'll outline for you in the following slides. It's mainly due to Professor Langsky because of his vast experience in Asia and in Europe that we were able to start on this exciting new redevelopment of our program. So, to give you an idea of what that might look like, this is kind of like a concept map. So as I mentioned earlier, we do offer the Bachelor of Musical Theatre and Bachelor of Acting, as well as the Bachelor of Music. But just for today, I am going to focus on the Bachelor of Music because that is where most of our international students come from. If anyone is interested in musical theatre or acting, please contact me and I will arrange an interview with the Director of Performing Arts, Professor Paul Savey, and my contact details will be at the end of this presentation. But we have a lot to cover in a short amount of time, and so I didn't really have time to focus on all three areas. So these three circles here represent the cycle that a student might move through during their 3 years in the Bachelor of Music. So depending on a starting point, for example, jazz, pop and creative music technology students might move through the sphere of the contemporary creative practices. Composition students might sit somewhere between the two, as you can see on the slide. Instrumental students might come through the traditions and repertoires and legacy circle. But the idea is that everyone will move through all three circles and all students will engage in communities, connections and artistic development and artistic identity as they move through that cycle. And at the end, through a third year capstone course, which will be very much project-based, will touch on at least two of those areas, so that we're aiming to provide the broadest possible comprehensive experience for our students. So it's in the second year that students start to decide what they might tend to focus on more. So it allows students to explore many pathways as they develop their identity. So the majors and minors of our new Bachelor of Music are actually still under planning and the names might change, but hopefully this concept should be clear from this slide. So they are very deliberately broad. Students don't need to choose their major until the second half of the second year, and they could choose a major and a minor if they wanted to. And that's because we would like our students to have had the opportunity to explore their artistic identity before they choose that major. So the top half of the circle represents the more creative focused majors. For example, performance and creative digital practices are for those people who might want to focus on their performance. That's the majority of our students, whether they are from pop or from music technology or jazz or the classical areas. If the focus is on being a performer, then this would be the major that they would choose. Some students, however, might want to focus more on composition or multimedia installations or the creation of their own music and original music, and they might tend to major in creativity and composition. Other students might choose to focus on productions, for example, artistic management or front of house or back of house production or project management or music business or arts management. There's a whole range of possibilities there, and they might choose to focus on that major artistic production major there. Or someone, for example, might choose to focus on performance but do a minor in artistic production so that they combine two areas within their studies. In the bottom half of the circle, you can see that these might be students who might choose to pursue education or community engagement or community music, or even to follow a research pathway that would take them on to postgraduate study. And again, the idea of having majors and minors is that you could choose from two of these areas towards the end of the degree. The third concept slide that I wanted to show you is about these six pillars, and From the very first day, all of our students will engage in all of these pillars in all of their courses. So the creation of music, developing musical and artistic identity, the recreation of music and in performance, learning how to perform, recording, audio and visual, and then in collaborating with others, and then contextual understanding, so like the cultural context, learning about music history, or even learning about musicians' health, or ultimate performance and practice techniques, etc. So we have the context, the music, the creation. So every single course will touch on one of these six, all of these 6 areas, and of course some will focus more on others. So the major study would of course focus mostly on the performance of music, but other courses might focus on other types. So this model will hopefully, this bigger model I hope you're seeing here, is actually aimed at giving students the broadest possible experience and allowing them to form their identity before they focus in on their majors as they move through the degree. All students, however, in every semester will engage in a number of courses. There is a weekly one-to-one lesson that can be on one instrument or on more than one instrument. So we have many students who come in and they are actually excellent on 2 instruments. It might be on cello and piano. Recently we had someone who had specialization in double bass and flute, I think, 2 very, very different instruments. And they can choose to focus on both of those instruments. They don't need to stick just to the one, even though they might audition on one and come in on that as their major. Students can move between those instruments as well if they wish to. So there's a lot of fluidity between that. Most students, however, will just choose to focus on their one preferred instrument, but the flexibility is built in for those who want to broaden that experience. So a one-to-one lesson of an hour's length every week with their instrumental teacher. Students also engage in ensemble classes every week. They could be small ensembles such as jazz ensembles or chamber music ensembles, or large ensembles, which includes our orchestra and public orchestral performances and anything in between. So ensembles are all shapes and sizes and all instruments, including single instruments, and all styles. There's also music theory courses every semester, but these are more than standard music theory and oral. There's also a focus on the practical and creative aspects and using the materials of music to create music. So a very different approach there. The context courses, which I mentioned, things like music history, health, pedagogy, and then the music industry, career planning, professional development, etc. So students engage in these every single semester of their studies to various extents. And then depending on their specialisation, students might also want to engage with recording technology, with composition or songwriting. So a performance major who was majoring in piano, for example, might also want to take courses in composition or in songwriting. A jazz student majoring on jazz saxophone might also like to take songwriting courses, or perhaps someone majoring in classical guitar might also take recording courses, and so that would enable students to be able to record their own music as well. We do, however, in the first year intend all of our students to have at least basic ability to record their own music using music software, and to be able to produce a sort of at least a semi-professional representation of their music. And so audio, visual and multimedia creation, we're aiming for students to collaborate across all areas. So we really want to create an environment where students aren't locked into their own areas, but have opportunities to collaborate across all of the areas while still focusing on their major. Okay, so the student experience overall then, in the first year, it's all about artistic identity formation, getting to know who you are as a musician, where you want to specialise, trying out all sorts of musical experiences while focusing on the one that you want to focus on. There's a very big emphasis on collaboration, on student-directed learning. We listen to our students and in what they want to learn and how they want to learn, and also cross-genre and cross-disciplinary activities. We also try to have multiple pathways and possibilities and open things out before students decide in their second year where they want to focus. And then finally in the third year, when students have decided their major and potentially their minor and where they want to focus, we finish with what we call a capstone project, which encapsulates everything that they have learned throughout the past few years. So hopefully that's given you an overview of the types of things that you might study while at the Conservatorium. So I'll move on to now how to apply. So you'll see the website up the top there. It's very easy to navigate. International students apply for a vision online, where they would be required to upload some documentation, or via a Griffith University registered agent. And these are all listed on the website that you see there. It's quite an easy process as well to follow through. And here you can see that we also have scholarships. So there's the ones that are mentioned, there's more than the ones that I've shown there. And again, on that website, if you go to that website, you'll be able to explore what kinds of scholarships are available to our students. So international students do have quite a few scholarships available to them. Now, of course, being a conservatorium, we require an audition for our entry into our program. We would like students need to upload a video of 3 contrasting pieces, and then preferably that would be uploaded to a YouTube channel, which should be unlisted, not private, so that we can access it. Occasionally students will send us a private channel, and of course we can't access that at all. And then that does have to follow a particular format. And so this short video that I'm going to play you here, it's about 3 minutes long, but it actually talks about preparing an audition video, because it's probably the most important part of the application process, because as you can imagine, this is all we have to go by for your audition. So I'll just play that for you now.
You can record your audition on your phone, on your computer, on your webcam, on your tablet.
It's the quality of the performance and not the quality of the recording that's important.
It's a good idea that your camera or recording device is really stable during the recording. So best not to have someone holding it, but put it on a tripod or on a bookshelf or secure it some way so we have a really, really clear picture and no distractions.
If you're using a smartphone or iPad or other device, please ensure flight mode is selected. This is to avoid any potential disruption.
Also, make sure that the room that you're doing your audition in is well lit, and try to avoid any backlighting or any other distractions that might take away from the focus being on you and your performance.
It's worth doing a test recording of the loud and soft sections, just to ensure that everything is being recorded to a level that you're happy with.
You'd hate to have a perfect performance not captured the best way. Also, if you are playing with an accompanist or a backing track or anything like that, you want to make sure that the balance is right, so it really is featuring you and that you're not being overshadowed by the accompaniment.
Allow enough time to do as many takes as you need to get the best version that you're happy with.
Now, the most important thing to remember is your audition video should be in one take and not edited throughout the whole performance. Now, at the beginning of your audition video, make sure that you introduce yourself and what degree you're applying for, and then before you perform, introduce each piece.
Hi, my name is Cara and I'm auditioning for a degree in classical percussion. The piece I'll be playing today is Tempo di Bure from Bach's Violin Partita No. 1.
It's also really important that you get a really good frame for your shot. You want to make sure that you're not so close that we can't see the whole instrument or your full range of motion, but also you don't want to be so far away that we can't really see your technique.
In the performing arts, each element should be recorded in one take and not edited. It's important that you wear something you're comfortable to perform in. Avoid costumes and too much makeup. For your acting and singing pieces, you should have the camera in portrait. We're quite happy for the shot to be waist up so we can see your face. For dance, it would be advisable to go landscape and ensure your dance movement is within frame. If you're wishing to apply for acting and musical theatre, you will need to submit 2 applications and upload 2 videos. These can include the same pieces.
At the end of the day, remember your audition is all about sharing your skills, your experience, your technique, and who you are. We want to see you, we want to hear you, and we want to get to know you better. So be confident and enjoy yourself.
Okay, so, oops, let's do this. There we go. I think the question that everyone wants to know at the moment is, especially coming to Australia, what are the international travel restrictions for students? The good news is that we are opening up to outside of Australia. The bad news is that it changes every day, as I'm sure you can imagine, but the most recent message from the government is that Queensland student arrivals will follow a phased approach. So we are opening up at the start of 2022. At the moment, we are allowing for 250 students per fortnight, but things are moving very, very quickly in Australia. Our state borders are opening up. In New South Wales and Victoria, they're allowing 250 students per week already and have already started opening up borders. And so I think this will move quickly, but of course I can't see into the future, so I can't promise, but international students are a very, very important part of Australian economy, and so the government is working very hard with universities to make sure that we can move back to kind of normal next year. So yeah, after phase one, there will be other opportunities for expansion. At the moment, the plan is for students who arrive in Brisbane next year to quarantine at a specially dedicated facility in near Brisbane. And the cost of that will actually be provided by the university. So that will be at no cost to students. Again, that might change. You know, already we are talking about not requiring quarantine for international travellers of next year or home quarantine. So all of this will change very, very quickly, as I'm sure you understand. But nonetheless, this slide represents the latest news actually from October 21st. This was updated, so it's very recent. The Queensland universities are working very closely with the state governments and federal governments, and Griffith International, who is our organisation for managing student applications from international students, is also working very closely with our international agents and students to ensure that everyone is aware of the requirements at the time of their application. So we are taking all applications for next year, and then this situation, of course, will change quite quickly. So after that very serious message, I thought it would be nice to finish this presentation with something that is playful and fun and collaborative and cross-genre and community building, which of course is what we like to present ourselves as being all about. The excerpt I'm about to play for you actually was the result of a collaboration between some of our classical, pop, jazz and music technology students from first year right through to third year. They had 4 hours to learn and rehearse 2 new songs, and they presented these in our foyer of the Conservatorium the following day. So they had to learn a lot very, very quickly. This is actually the first time that we've had a collaboration across all of these areas, and I think it's a promising sign of some very exciting things to come, and I thought it would be a nice way to end this presentation. So it's just a minute long, and then after that's played, I'll be open to any questions.
Behind every great man, there had to be a great woman. But in these times of change, you know it's no longer true. So we're coming out of the kitchen, 'cause there's something we forgot to say to you. We say sisters are doing it for themselves, standing on their own 2 feet and bringing on their own bells. Sisters are doing it for themselves. Now this is a song.
There we go. So I'll stop sharing my screen now, shall I, Kenny? And then we open up to questions.
Yes, definitely. Actually, there are some questions, like
in the
2
chat?
questions, yeah, in the chat box. So the first one is from Siulan Lee. Would you like to unmute yourself and ask the question directly to Donna? It would be more straightforward.
I can read the question here. So how many students are in classical voice? Around 15 students, domestic, which is Australian students every year. And so, because at the moment, of course, we don't have very many international students, but each year there would be between 15 and 20 students in classical voice that come into our program. Vocal, what instrument is needed? If you're a voice student, there's no requirement to have an instrument, although some voice students do indeed play other instruments. If you're applying on voice, then all you need is your voice. But as I said before, if a voice student also wanted to have some, if they were very, very good on another instrument and they wanted to have some experience or some lessons on that instrument, then that's also a possibility. Do I need to complete the language? Oh, yes, sorry, that's a very important question. Yes, there are the language requirements, the IELTS test, whether you're applying for a Bachelor of Music or a Master's, they're the same requirements. That's all actually on that. Thank you for that question. I should have put that on my slide. On that international website that I put in my PowerPoint on the Griffith site, all of those requirements are there. And they're the same for all students across the university. It's not less for the Conservatorium than anywhere else. I should also add on that point that for students who don't quite meet that score, sometimes we recommend that they do a 6-month course at the, we have a college, a Griffith College, where students can study English language and then enter into the degree the following year. So they might come over in the middle of the year, complete their semester, and then get their IELTS score and then be able to enter. So an offer might come that we accept you into the program on the condition that you complete this program in language. That sometimes happens. And those students that do, and that's on our Mount Gravatt campus that I mentioned earlier, those students that do the language course, we also have them access to the Conservatorium and just sort of take part in ensembles and to have some lessons and to have access to instruments to practice on as well. I hope that all makes sense. Thank you. I think I've answered all the questions in the chat.
Actually, I do have one follow-up question regarding the international travel restrictions. So as you mentioned, it changes quite rapidly. So yes, if there are students who are interested in pursuing their music education in Australia, where should they go for the most accurate and latest information regarding the travels and admission?
Yeah, I would think just through Griffith International, and because our international team are constantly talking to government around these things, and of course we're lobbying the government to open up, quicker and quicker. So they are definitely the people who have the most up-to-date information. Yeah, at the moment it's required you must be vaccinated with a recognised vaccination, and all of that information is also available on the international site.
Yeah, I think that's all I have. Is there any questions from the floor? Let's give everyone like 10 seconds before we wrapped up for the first session.
I didn't play the last slide, Kenny, but on there is all my contact information. So as the international convener, I actually am the person at the Conservatorium that anyone who's interested. And I should just also add that, we have had students who applied to come last year who we accepted and they couldn't come. We just defer that application. So it's not, you don't have to apply again. If the worst happened and you applied to enter and then suddenly the borders were shut, it wouldn't mean the end of your application. We would just defer it until we were able to open up again. But hopefully that would not happen.
I think so, since we are all going into the brighter future already. Yeah.
I think so,
and
yeah.
Regarding Prof. Donna Swatson's contacts, I believe is also in our website, and you all can get it from there as well. Yeah.
Sure.
So I guess there's no more follow-up questions, right? All right. Let me just share my screen so that we can move on. All right. After a fruitful session with Queensland Conservatorium with Donna, a lot more follow-up actions to prepare. We would like to introduce our consultation services, which is now attend this event. Through this, we provide a free 30-minute consultation session for those who plan to students enrolled in music institutions, as these will benefit you for future admission applications to music Sorry, I was, okay. Yeah, so this is our recent service on consultation. So get yourself the first free session by scanning the QR code or use the link in the chat box. Let me just drop the link in the chat box. All right. And then next, we have just introduced our inaugural fellowship program with Orchestra of the Swan from the UK. Musical Exchange Program NEP is a fully funded training program where the selected composers and instrumentalists will undergo a series of trainings, workshops, lessons, and consultations with international experts. It is a great opportunity for you to enhance your career development in the program. And of course, the fellows will then be engaged in future opportunities with the Rondo production. There's no application fee at all. So head over to our website to grab the link or grab the link in the chat box for the MEP program. Then we also organize a fundraising campaign with our community partner, Performing Arts Center of Penang. And do come support us by purchasing any of our merchandise. Your highly appreciated contribution will help us in maintaining the services of our partner and keep the arts going. All right, so before we end the session officially, please scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the chat box for our post-event survey. We would love to receive your feedback and suggestions on how we can make your next experience better. All right. Last but not least, thank you so much for Prof. Donna Watson for sharing and providing such insightful content on your course, admission requirements, as well as the student life. We also thank all the attendees for joining us, and we hope to see you at the next session with UCSI Institute of Music. Do follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at the Rondo Production to get the latest updates on our upcoming events. So stay safe and have a short break, and we'll see you in the next session. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Donna.